That way we make sure everybody is included. Done deal. All right, guys. So what we're talking about on the chart, the issue that we were having before was we have companies that are winning contracts, and we were trying to find out who was the persons who actually gave them those contracts so that we could then solicit those persons directly, right? We have companies that look like me, have the same makeup that we have the same skill set and everything. And so what we want to do is we want to find out how do we get some of that action. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try and introduce myself to some of the contracting folks out there on who's awarded some of these sole source 8A contracts. I want to introduce myself to them, let them know that we exist in the event that they have something coming down a pipeline. If they were able to successfully award millions, tens of millions of dollars in contracts to these firms, I would like to be on that list the next time they've got something coming out. Make sense? Right? Cool. So we're over here in the spreadsheet. And just make sure that you guys can see this. I may have to zoom out some. Okay. Looks like, hold on. All right. Looks like that's, we could see that. Everyone should be able to see that on the chart. Okay, perfect. All right, so what we're looking for, a couple things. I'm going to take and I'm actually focusing on one particular company. There's a company on here that I know of that's getting the bulk of the work. So I'm going to concentrate my efforts on that one particular company. So let me do this. I'm going to go back to my pivot table. And by the way, for those joining us who missed part one, what we did was we jumped over here. I'll show you really quickly, just to recap. Come on, don't be like that. Okay, perfect. It's a blank tab. Where's my? Give me a second. Let me fix this Windows. It's not giving me the window that I want. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so what we did is we started off our search here on USA Spending. And again, just like a cooking channel, I'm not going to go through all of the particular details of it. But we start off our search here on USA Spending. Scroll down. Let me make it more friendly for you guys so you can see it on your screen. All right, we are here, USA spending.gov. We did a search. We pulled in 2 years range, 2019, 2018. Went down. Our location, United States. Pulled up my state of interest. Rhode Island. Click submit search. Comes back with a bunch of results. I then up here click download. Okay, so it says my download's pretty the results are limited to 500,000 character of records. So we could essentially, let's take out one of these years, submit search 2018. And then I would download the results, pull it in Excel, and then what we get is this spreadsheet over here that we're talking about. Which now I don't see the spreadsheet. Okay, perfect. So we get this spreadsheet over here that we're now looking at. I don't like how that looks. Let me switch that window real quick. Okay, here we go. That's the one I like. All right, so now we're at the spreadsheet that we downloaded. And what I did was I simply created a pivot table where I sorted this. And so I grabbed this information, and we can, I'll get rid of some of this stuff so you guys can see what it is. All right, so that way nobody's like, oh, what are we doing here? All right, so now it's blank. And what we did was essentially, we'll start over from the beginning real quick. What we're looking at were contracts. So let's look at who received the contracts, how much did they receive, and who actually gave them those contracts as well. All right, just check real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me check over here. By the way, for all my IG people, we're on YouTube, so you may want to join us on YouTube. Just gonna check real quick. Make sure nobody has any questions. We're good. Don't worry about the first video, Alexis. But you can watch the first video. We're doing the second one now. All right, cool. And by the way, we're not the whole purpose of this video is not about protesting. It's just about getting the information so that you can put yourself in the game. So I'm not. We're not saying that you should. Someone asked on the question about protesting a job. Right now, I want to get you the information so that at least you can say, "Hey, I exist," right, and let the person know out there that you exist and your company exists. And so next time they decide they want to do a sole source award to somebody, their market research will say, well, actually, there is another 80 out there. We can do a set aside as opposed to a sole source, and then you can put yourself in the game. So that's the objective of today, is to find out how do you put yourself in the game, right? And so that's what we're talking about. Now, going back over to the spreadsheet, let's look at the amount awarded, current value of the award. Okay, let's look at who won it. Okay, Department of Defense, who actually won the contract, recipient, okay, so we've got recipient, okay, so here's the recipient, here's who gave them the contracts, shows the amount of contracts they received, the total contracts they received. Dun, dun, dun. And I personally hate having all these counts, so I like to switch my stuff around. All right, beautiful. So now what we're looking at is these are companies that are coming in and basically taking my contracts. All right, there they are. Now, the company that I'm interested in particularly is this company right here. Aviation is the company that I'm looking at. So what I'm going to do is I want to sort. I pulled in the recipients into my filters so that now I'm going to only select this company, Aviation. Okay, and see they got $42 million worth of contracts. I want to pull up their actual contract numbers, so that's their award IDs. Okay, so we have here the contracts they received, the award IDs, and then let's just look at who gave it to them. Okay, the Navy gave them the contracts. So this awarding office, let's see if we can get more specific. Okay, all right, shows NAVFAC, CMD, Mid-Atlantic gave them the contracts, and we see the actual contract. Take this away. Okay, so we see, dun, dun, dun. I like to hum and sing, by the way, if you haven't noticed. All All right, any questions so far? So now what we have is this particular company here, right, Austerian Group. They have 24 contract actions totaling $42 million. And these are this is the award ID right here that they were given. So now what we're going to do, give me a second. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste that award ID over into BetaSam. So I'm just going to go in BetaSam, copy and paste the award ID, and voila, it actually gives me that's the award ID that we had over in Excel. And it shows me the action obligation, pulls up their name, tells you when they signed the contract, it tells you the obligation amounts, and if we click on this, we get who prepared it, who signed it. So it shows here it was done by Heather Race. You got her email, the person who prepared it. It shows you the amount, who did it for them, firm fixed price. Hold on, guys. All right, there we go. Let me go back to this other one. There's one that I pulled up earlier that had the person I want to speak to. I knew the lady in that office. Let's see if it's this one. But you can take that information, plug it in. Ah, here it is. Tracy Gates. So I know this particular person, and she is the actual contracting officer for that office. All right. So I already know who that is, and that gate, because I know I've done my research in the past. Alexander Larte, I know who this is. So again, I know who he is. I know who Tracy Gates is, and we can do that with all their contracts. So we can go back and see. Okay, this contract is for, oh, sorry guys, hold on. Switch over. Okay. All right, so we can go back over here on Excel, and we can look at this particular opportunity. Say it's 595,000. Grab this award ID. Come back over here to BetaSam. Plug it in. Ends in 68. And here you go, $585,000. We could click on it, and it shows us this was done by Leslie Brazil. I know who she is as well. So again, this for me is, oh, sorry for YouTubers, I didn't flip over. All right, I went and copy and pasted that from Excel, put it over into BetaSam. Here, I'll show you again. And it gave me the result, and you can see it matches up, $585,000, and it tells you the person who prepared it was Leslie Brazil. I know who she is. She used to be a contracting officer there, so she's the one that gave him that contract. Okay, same thing. Let's jump back over to Excel. All right, they got this contract for $1 million. Ends in 332. Go back over to BetaSam. Hit search, and you see it consists of an obligation for $77,000, $800,000, and $150,000. And we can look at Click on it, pull it up. Alexander Alarte gave it to them. You can pull up, that's the one for 77,000. For the one for 867,000, Leslie Brazil gave it to them. And the one for 155,000, let's see, Tracy Gates. So again, this is the information I was looking for. And for those of you who are learning the ropes and becoming familiar with, hold on. Okay, there you go. I'm back. Put myself over here. All right, so for those of you who are learning the ropes and becoming familiar with the research process, to me, this is one of the most important things that any one of us can do out here is doing our research. So, for example, I'm reading the questions in here for those who are watching. Let me see on the gram. Okay, everybody moved over. Okay, good. Good. I just want to let everybody know that where we're at. All right, so in answering the questions, all right. Now, W.C. Lawson says, right, thanks. I watched the first video and get what your purpose is, and my question is, I hear this about service-disabled veteran often, or is it something only with service-disabled veterans? No. So actually, this is happening. It happens all across the board. The issue that I think that what we could do to combat this is by being present and by showing up. In my particular situation, the company that I represent, the 8A firm, they didn't know we existed in the past. And so because they didn't know we existed, they were, freely giving out contracts to other persons, other parties. But now that they know that we exist, or we plan on getting on their radar, now we can make them aware that we exist and give them other options. It's hard for people to get around that once you are in their face and let them know that you are competent, you're capable, and you're qualified to do the work. I'm not saying that this is going to be great for everyone, because every one of us can't do the work, right? So in that case, some of us who don't have that ability need not show up. But for those of us who have the ability, and we feel like that we're not being represented, then it's up to us, it's our obligation to respond to the source of SOTs, respond to the market research, and put ourselves out there and let them know that we in fact exist. Last week, I received a call, an actual email with 2 sole source opportunities that were given to me because I did some market research 6 months ago, back in October. But again, for me, what the idea was, this particular company received $40 million in sole source contracts. And I know that for me, it couldn't have been the case that they just wanted to give them the $40 million. So I want to see really who were the persons that were freely handing out these opportunities. And I'm going to go through the list of all these 24 actions and find out where did they get them from and who gave them to them. And then that way I can get in their face and be present and say, look, now that girl said, hey, I went through PTACS, they were skipping information, what a waste of a morning. Yeah, no, I don't know why these people don't give you guys all the information. To me, I think we're like, if they know how to do this stuff, then to me, it would behoove them to do it, right? Like this to me is actually, and I hate to say it, this actually is probably one of the good things about BetaSam, that they're consolidating all of this information, because since they're now consolidating all of this information, we are able to do this type of research without buying a third-party software. And that was the point of the video this morning, is I want to prove that we could capture this information without paying $1 for any additional type of software. That was my goal. That was my objective of the video today. And that's why I kind of did it haphazardly, without even trying, without even testing it first to figure it out. Because I was like, there's got to be a way to do this without having to pay for GovTribe or GovWin or Deltek or Bloomberg Government or any of these types of software that just is not affordable. It's not practical for most of us. So that was the objective. Now, don't get me wrong. I had to pull information from one database, put it into Excel, and then, cross-reference it with a second database, but I got the information, right? And so the most important part to me is I got the information. Yes, WC Lawson, excellent. Right, network can be top of mind. But also, you don't want them to say that you don't exist. You don't want them to say, hey, we did our market research, nobody responded. Because technically, they're not obligated to go out and find you. They, and again, I don't have their specific criteria in front of me, but it's not, their job is to do market research. What does market research mean? What does it look like? That's probably where subject to interpretation, subject to question. But what I want to do is help them do their job by waving my hand, right? I'm in the classroom, I'm waving my hand. I'm not the kid sitting in the back of the room, crunched down, my hat over my head, pretending for you not to see me. I want to sit right in the front and wave my hand and take my capability statement and say, hey, do you guys, have you seen me? Do you know me? Have you heard of me? Give me a shot, give me a chance. And that's what anyone out there who believes that they're qualified or is representing a qualified company as a consultant, you should definitely be doing this. This should be part of your research, right? It's finding out who got sole source contracts in your area, right? Who they are, and then tracking down the people who gave out those sole source contracts, because the people who gave out sole source contracts in 2017, 2018, 2019 are giving out sole source contracts in 2019, 2020, 2021. Those are going to be the same people, right? They don't change. If they know how to give out sole source contracts, they are going to continue giving out sole source contracts because they like that avenue as an avenue to be able to utilize to help them in terms of their opportunities. All right, my man has just jumped on. So yeah, he said any sole source solicitations put out for 7 business days, they pray to God that no one protested, because if they do, the required must go out full and open competition. Yeah, there you go. But again, the point of today's video. So okay, so we've got someone on here. I don't know if you guys can read the chat. That's he's saying any sole source solicitation put out for 7 days. They mostly pray that no one protested. Otherwise, they got to put out full and open competition. If you protested and you're able to fulfill the requirement, then you're good to go. Excellent. So again, for me, the objective of today's video was just to show you how to do the research using tools that are available to all of us, that are public tools that, again, like I said, USA Spending, I was able to jump on that site. Didn't require me to register. I just jumped on and pull down the information, put it into Excel, which again, I have Excel. And then in beta.sam, I was able to copy and paste without even logging in to beta.sam. So all of this information that I found rather quickly, was all on free public sites. And it gave me exactly the data I needed to further be able to, do some digging, do some BD work, like business development, some capture management down the road to see what other types of opportunities they had available. So again, just a little bit of teaching, learning, sharing with everyone out there who may also be in this position. Now, we've got a couple questions on here I'm going to take. All right, my man Rob says, do you know anything about winning or working in aviation contracts? I love doing more market research about logistics side of business. Yeah, Rob, we actually have people that work in aviation. I know a couple people that manufacture components for that industry. In fact, I had a guest. If you look up in my channel, D. Kivett, look at the episode I did with D. Kivett. D. Kivett helps people get their facilities certified in order to be able to sell their parts and components to the aviation industry and to the Boeings of the world. Look that episode up. If you do have a manufacturing type business, or if you're working with someone that supplies products or components to that industry, reach out to D. Kivett. I know of people who've already reached out to her. They've used her services, and she said that once they got up and running, she could actually even go a step further and make some introductions for them to people in that respective industry that are doing these types of contracts. Because from what I understand, because of circumstances that are happening, they've lost a lot of suppliers, and they're looking for suppliers, new suppliers and vendors that can provide parts, components to that industry. So again, Rob, if that's your business, definitely look up on my channel. Look at the episode I did with D. Kibbe. Matter of fact, I'm going to type it in there, and we talk about that. I've got a couple videos on that as well. WC Lawson, did you say you're looking to this for one of your clients? So, yeah, it's a consulting client of mine. Yes. No, WC Lawson, I did not say anything about searching beta for NAICS awards. I have no NAICS codes on the screen. No, that's not what I did. We have no NAICS codes anywhere on the screen. What we did was we pulled down the contracts that were awarded and we looked at by the state that I was in, and then what I did was I sorted them by the actual companies that were sole source contracts. So I was looking specifically for, and you can do the same thing if you're looking for, say, service disabled contracts in and around your area. You can look at your state, and then you can sort the contracts based on the code and based on, service disabled or veteran owned status. And then from there, you can sort to see which contracts were given out to companies that represent your code that also fall into the classification of veteran owned and service disabled veteran owned companies. And that's what I did. But again, I've got some, if you go back and watch part 1, we go through that. Or if you watch the beginning of this video, we actually go through that. And then what I did was, for me, I wanted to take it a step further and not just know the companies who got these contracts. I wanted to know the contracting officers who actually gave the companies those contracts. And so that's what I went back and went one step further and got that information. And so now I'm going to put that information all together in a database, and I'm going to look at it and say, okay, these contracting officers gave, this amount of contracts. These contracting officers gave this amount of contracts. And then I'll be able to show that, take that data and show it back to my team so that we can make sure that we're targeting those particular people who have a high probability of awarding AA contracts, right? Doesn't that make sense? You want to target people who have a high, if you are a woman-owned small business, or if you're a service-disabled veteran, or whatever the case may be, HubZone, wouldn't it behoove you to target people who are more likely to award those types of set-asides and sole source contracts? I mean, they already understand this stuff. They know how it works, and so they are already like pro 8A or pro small business. And let me tell you, that's not easy to find people that are always pro small business. So, oh yeah, you can't watch this on a mobile screen and look at me doing Excel spreadsheets and going back and forth between the data. So, yeah. Anybody else? I just kind of want to touch base and show you guys I had found that solution, so I definitely want to share that with everybody out there. No, you don't need to register in GSA. There's nothing on here. GSA is nowhere on my screen. YC Lawson, no, you don't. Listen, one of the things, my consultation fees is just as much as my webinar price for the course. So I really don't encourage anybody to do that. But if you want to, I mean, I'll do it with you. But again, if you're talking about $400 an hour versus a $697 course, I mean, to me it makes sense to buy the course and get everything for a couple $100 more. But whatever you like, I'm here. We're here to teach. We're here to train. We're here to share. We're here to connect. For me, I think the value is going to be long term is connecting everyone together so that we can attack this together and not work independently. The longer you take to come from out of working, trying to attack this all on your own, then what's going to happen is you're going to continue to see opportunities pass you by, and then what's going to happen is you're going to get to a point where you missed out on something that you could have capitalized on just because you failed to take action in a expedient time frame. My man said the coronavirus is going to force production of anything made in China back in the U.S. It identifies how dependent our military is on Chinese-made components. I would agree with that, Ryan. Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Hey, Mo, did you see what happened? Did you see the solution? It was like right in front of my face the whole time, by the way. I see you just jumped on. Did you see what I did? I mean, it was like smack dab in my face, which actually, it's the first time that I have to say that I really think that BetaSam is doing what it's supposed to do. So whoever's working on BetaSam, they're kind of getting it right now, because we're able to cross-reference this information back over to BetaSam, and so it was like it just spit it all out. So, all right, I'm gonna do another one real quick. 4.7. Oh, hold on. Let me switch my screens. All right, boom. All right, so let's look at this one. 4.78 million. Switch it over. Go back to beta. Put it in. And there you go. $4.78 million contract that they were given. Click on it. Look at it. They awarded 2018. And Kelly Cannon and Megan Hislop gave them that contract. I don't know who they are, but Kelly and Megan, you will be hearing from me. You could believe that. So, yep. Naval Health Clinic, New England. Perfect. See? SBA certified program. Firm price picks contract. They did it in Newport, Rhode Island. So, yeah, this is kind of information that they said was competed, but it says only 2 offers were received. So, all right, but yeah, this is the kind of information that we want to share with people out there. This is the kind of information that we want to put in people's hands. Oh, that girl said the same thing. Yeah, missed out on two opportunities. No, I know it. It's sad that people wait until there's an opportunity in front of them to try to jump on board, because at that point, you're already behind the curve. You got to get in now and start learning and preparing yourself, because when that opportunity comes out, it's going to be too late to try to learn all this information at the last moment. And I don't want people to come to me and say, Eric, I got a contract that I'm looking at, and I'm going to buy your course so that you could show me how to do this contract. Listen, it's too late. It's too late. I'm not going to drop everything that I did because someone sends me a couple $100, right, and then help them put together a $2 million package. It's not happening. It's not happening. So, for me, it's like I get that all the time from people. Is they're like, I got something now, and so now I'm ready to take the course. It's like, nah, you should be trying to get as much information, education right now while you have the time, before something comes out and you're going to find yourself unprepared and unqualified, and you're not going to be able to, in a matter of weeks, be able to put a team together to go after it. So I was making actually a video today on that earlier, that I'll be posting later on this week once we get it cleaned up. So, but yeah, I just want to come back on, share that information, close out on part 2 where I left off at, because like I said, we didn't get a chance to close it out. So I just want to do that. Yes, Mo, by the way, 2 offers could mean a negotiation. I agree 100%. We have been in that situation before, where we know of people that have submitted 2 bids, right, so that they could have what seemed like a competitive job that didn't really exactly happen or do, but it gave the appearance on paper that happened. So either way, hey, look, I just want to show that I've got a 5 o'clock. Yeah, J81 Javon, I was doing state contracts before this, another ball game. Totally another ball game. I was on a call with my live members only group last night. Someone suggested that we get registered for state and local contracts, and I blasted him. I literally blasted him, and I told him, look, I want you to show me someone who's became a multi-millionaire doing local contracts. Not a prime. We're talking about just some small guy who started from zero and became a good. It just doesn't happen. And until someone could bring that person forth and put him in front of me, then I'll say that local contracts are the way to go. I have too many stories, too many scenarios of people that are owed hundreds of thousands of dollars right now, today, March 4th or March 5th, whatever day it is. I know people right now on March 4th, 2020, that are owed hundreds of thousands of dollars by local contracts. I know people right now today that are owed money on state contracts. They're months behind on payments, and it's not something that I'm going to advocate or teach people to do. And I'm just not going to do it because I don't want you to come to me and say, I got this $1 million contract. I've done all this work and they owe me $200,000. I'm sorry. I can't help you. So I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, Javon, it is another ball game. Hey, WC Law said, I paid for a consult for someone you mentioned and still haven't received the consult. Laugh like it's been over 1 month and I'm getting the runaround. Look, listen. I'm sorry, that happened to you. It's crazy, right, that people do this stuff. You know what? It's funny because some of the people that are selling information are getting the information from me. I got hit up today by someone, and again, it's like it's constantly, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, W.C. Lawson. I don't even know what to say to that. But if you send me an email, I'll make sure that Maria or somebody reaches out to you so we can try and take the bad taste. So I know it's not my fault. I know it's not my fault, but I just feel so bad because you're not the first person that said that to me. Other people come to me and say, Eric, I paid this money for this program. I did this program. I did this thing. I signed up for this course. It disappeared in 90 days or 6 months. And so, it's unfortunate because there's a reason why these people are not putting themselves out there as much because they're taking people's money. I don't mind coming on live and talking with you guys and chatting with you guys. I have fun with everybody. I don't mind putting my information out there. Oh, PTACS in Houston told me to go after state contracts. I'm so glad you said. Yeah, the PTACS are great. They're wonderful. I like PTACS. I think they provide a valuable service. But again, everyone is different. And what I always tell people is this: do your homework. Do your homework, right? If the PTAC or anybody tells you to go after an opportunity, what I would ask them is, look, am I going to get paid? Can you tell me? And that's what I always challenge people. I say, look, don't listen to me. If you're going to an organization, you're going to a meeting, and they're advocating, say, FEMA contracts, disaster relief contracts at the local level or state level, ask them, do people have a problem getting paid on those contracts? How fast? If I go out there and I put 10 trucks on the road and I go and I do just the disaster relief project, I can tell you, Miami-Dade County, I've got a friend of mine that waited 9 months to get paid after the last hurricane, and he helped do debris cleanup. 9 months to get paid. I know 2 people personally, and they were working on different ends of the debris cleanup. One was actually removing the trees, and one had trucks that was taking the trucks with the tickets and would go and drop it off and get paid by load. And he waited 9 months to get his final payments from the trucks. You can't. It's not a way to build a sustainable business. If you are always waiting for your money, how can you grow an organization? How can you hire people? How can you invest in yourself, your team, your infrastructure? You just can't. Which is why I want to find that person who became rich doing local contracts. I want you to find me that person who's wrote a book and who's made this big splash and he's won all these awards from doing local contracts. I haven't seen it. Oh, my man Ryan just said the 2 bids, the 2 offers were received because one was the company that was awarded the contract. The higher bid came from a friend of another vendor that purposely bid higher to meet the competitive requirement. Hey, I know that happens because, I've seen it with my own eyes. But again, that's someone who's worked on the inside sharing it with us, and this is true. I know it happens all the time. But again, I like when other people say it, so it's not just coming from me. So, I like when someone else can kind of chime in and add to the conversation because it's not, I don't want it to say like, oh man, that Eric said, nah, this is the reality of how this thing is played. I'm just sharing information. But yeah, so WC Lawson, when you talk to your PTAC in Houston, or you talk to your PTAC, or you go to an event, ask the people, and I always challenge them. When you talk about all the money in state work or local work, how does a small business ensure that we're going to get paid in a timely manner? How can they help ensure that if I put my money out there and I invest and I put my people on those, how do you make sure I get paid in 30 days, 60 days? Because getting paid in 90 days or 120 days is BS. It's crap. It's crap. And as a small business, you can't afford to. You know what they call that? You are basically lending the government money. You're lending the local government and the state's money by fronting their jobs, because you're fronting their jobs, right? So again, you're not a bank, you're not a financial institution. So why should I have to lend this municipality money for 60 or 90 days? They got more money than me and more money than all of us, right? They've got quote unquote hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts at your local municipality, local city. So why do I have to lend them money? And that's kind of, that's what I would talk about. If they can't tell you how you're going to get paid and what time frame you're going to get paid, that's the conversation that you want to have. So forget looking at the everyone paints the picture of there's this big, huge amount of money out there. Okay, fine. There's all this pot of money, right? Are the contracts that they're awarding me, are they funded? What does that mean? Have they already got the funding in place to pay me? So when I bill them, do I get paid right away? Like, can you tell me that part of it? Now, I don't want to hear about they got $50 million because someone said, well, Eric, last night, they go, well, in the disaster relief fund, isn't there like a fund already for Miami-Dade County? Yeah, I'm sure there might be some sort of fund where they put money aside, but it's just like the insurance down here. If anybody's got insurance on a house, most of the people here in Miami-Dade have Citizens Insurance, right? That's like the government's insurance. It's like Medicare, Medicaid for insurance. Why? Because all of the other programs were underfunded. So even if they put away $100 million for a hurricane, if it takes $500 million to clean it up, that's not enough. Somebody's going to get the short end of the stick. And so if they're going to run through that money, that $100 million in the first, in the first wave. But the $100 million it's not just for cleanup, right? What about restoring the poles, the power, all that stuff? I mean, FP&L and them coming down the pipe and they getting theirs. So again, you as the little guy who's got a $20,000 invoice, a $50,000 invoice, a $150,000 invoice, you're going to go to the back burner for as far as FP&L, who's got to put the lights back on, the cable company's got to get the power, cable back ran. You're going to go in the back burner to the people who got to put together the infrastructure. So again, talk about the money part and how you get paid when you're having these conversations with state and local people or PTACS or anybody like that. Hey, and you could tell, listen, I was on YouTube the other day and some guy said, look, he know people that don't get paid for 6, 8, 9 months. Is that true? Well, Lawson, I don't know about that. I'm not really sure. I can't really speak on the payment thing. Well, as a small business owner, that kind of is really important for me. So I think that, to me, I want to know that how that part of the thing works, because that process is just as important as getting the $1 million contract. Because to get the $1 million contract, if you can't get paid the $1 million, you don't want the contract. Or if you get paid the $1 million 6 months from now, unless you have extra money floating around, or you've got a rich uncle or rich cousin, or maybe you're a 90-day fiance, then I would just probably tell them, nah, I'm not interested. So, all right. But yeah, that's kind of like the long, short, skinny of the matter. And that's kind of like what I feel. But yeah, my man, Ryan, I appreciate the chiming in. I appreciate that. Sorry about the person that didn't respond to you. But I would love, before you go, I would love for you to send me an email and let me know who that person is that you're talking about. Just so I'm not necessarily going to put them out there, but I just want to have it in the back of my head, who's doing what to people out there and how they're treating our people, because I've, as you guys know, I hit 10,000 subscribers. A lot of people are coming at me. A lot of people wanting to work with me. And, I just want to make sure that I also don't get in bed with the wrong person, right? Because I could easily get in bed with someone who gives the impression like they're serving, small business owners or women business owners or veteran business owners. And I don't get the chance to see every side or every aspect of them. So can you please, at the very least, send it over to me, so that way, I don't accidentally get in bed with the wrong person, not knowing, right? I don't want to be ignorant either and clueless. So, but hey, listen, guys, I got to shut off because I got a 5 o'clock with one of my private mastermind groups and a 7 o'clock. So I've got to, grab me a bite and then run over to this. But yeah, definitely tomorrow at 7 p.m. we're going to be on. Hopefully my man Ryan, we can get to chat with everybody, get you guys up to speed and inform you some more on this whole federal contracting world, So again, got to run. Thanks for joining in. Make sure you give me a like. Give me some thumbs up. I only got 6 likes and 27 viewers. So give me a thumbs up. All right, we're out.